I'd like to spend a few minutes and sort of reflect on the nature of today's reality. Typically, it's relatively well agreed that yesterday's solutions are the primary cause of most of today's problems. We just do things in such a way that we don't actually solve problems. We just sort of deal with situations and end up making the situation worse in time or creating new problems. There are just a myriad of unintended consequences which resulted in new problems that just we have to deal with, we or someone else has to deal with. And a lot of it has to do with the nature of living in the moment and not realizing that cause and effect are separated by distance and time most of the time, so that we don't actually realize the implications of our actions. We take actions to deal with situations and are not aware of the real implications of those actions, which is why we continually have unintended consequences to deal with, and which results in new problems that we have to deal with. So it's really time for a reality check. I mean, we set out with the best of intentions, though most of the time end up shooting ourselves in the foot simply because of the way that we approach things. The cure often ends up being worse than the disease itself. We set out, and at times, initially, our actions begin to make things better, and we deceive ourselves into believing that we're doing the right things, though not far downstream, things tend more often than not to go awry, and we realize that we've just run into some additional unintended consequences that while the situation initially got better, then it got worse. We simply don't realize that you can't have your cake and eat it too, at least not at the same time. So that because of the nature of interactions, the nature of systems, when you push on things, they tend to push back. I mean, try pushing on this mess and see what kind of a result you end up with. So while we're often not aware of the most obvious leverage points to actually intervene in situations, so we do the wrong things, and then often when we are aware of the appropriate leverage points, we push on them in the wrong direction. And all of this sort of lends credence to the quote from Pogo that we have met the enemy and he is us. We are the victims of ourselves. Most of this reality check came from Peter Senge's The Fifth Discipline, which is as valid today as when it was published 20-some years ago. And while this is essentially the nature of reality today, we can in fact be better than this. There are ways to develop interventions for situations which will allow us to actually deal with the situation in an appropriate manner and minimize the unintended consequences of our own actions. And the additional videos in this series will, in fact, provide or uncover a number of them. So, hope you found this of interest. Talk to you soon. Bye.